Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your girl Diamond. I am the host of Marsha's Play podcast, and I go live every Friday at 7 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock now. I had some stuff to do, so I'm late. And we are going to discuss Martha Stewart's new documentary on Max. Which I found to be really, really good. It's quite interesting. Hey, Brandon, how are you? Hey, CL. Hey, Camille. So I know I didn't warn y'all about this, but yeah, I wanted to talk about it while it's fresh on my brain. So the Martha Stewart. So I've been waiting for this documentary for a very, very long time because Martha Stewart is one of them women that I don't. They're an anomaly, but like a anomaly that a unsurprising anomaly. Like what she represents is not a surprise to me. Um, so, but it's interesting to see how she became who she is. And they go into a lot of detail, and I love it. I thought it was exactly what I wanted to see about her life, just the trajectory and how it fit with what I thought about her. And it was exactly what I thought. So I loved it. It was amazing. Hey, Trishan. And so we're going to talk about some of the themes that I picked up from it. So, yeah, I just thought it was dope. So make sure y'all check it out and come back. If you haven't watched it, come back and um, let me know what y'all think about it. But y'all still can have the conversation with me. So we all know that Martha Stewart is an icon of design and cooking and high class living. Like, her career is about entertaining you. Um, entertaining. She started her career talking about entertaining people, cooking for them, um, setting tables, and just the living and entertainment of people coming to your home or people in your house, and just really domestication, like how your home is decorated, all the kitchen, the woman in the kitchen. How can you be this kind of homekeeper, this homemaker? Like, she has built an empire on those things, right? So, and she's been an icon for those, for what? God, since the 70s, 80s. So, for me, people in the beginning of her career, she started in the stocks. And Martha Stewart isn't a boomer. She's older than a boomer. You see what I'm saying? She's the older generation before boomer. So when she comes into stocks, it is like flourishing. And she's coming into the stock arena when it was nothing but men. And so even in the beginning of the documentary, she's coming from being a model to into this male dominated finance world. And even in the beginning, when one of the older men, was talking about her and talking about being introduced to her beauty was one of the the perks. Like she's only coming in this room not only because she is smart, but mainly because she's a good looker. And even though when we talk to her, it's called the silent generation because I think it's before like television or something. Like it's something about television. It's something about radio and television. Something about that. So where can I find this doc be found? It's on HBO Max. So, she's coming from using her beauty as a tool of making money because they talked about that, where modeling gave her money to do certain things that she wanted to do. Okay. Whereas, because back in them days, you could be a secretary for a woman, you could be a secretary. Yes, you go to school. They wanted you to go to school, but once you got to college, going to college for a white woman was to find a husband. It wasn't to embark on a career. Like that is the culture was you go to college to look for a husband. And like it's a whole video that's going around where girls, even to this day, not just back then, but especially back then, to this day, they're holding their finger up a ring by spring. That's the what is it called? That's like the slogan for this type of culture, a ring by spring. So by the time your spring semester of college come, you have somebody who has proposed to you. And so it's a video of these white girls at graduation holding up their ring that they got. And it's just them showing their ring. Like they keep go cutting to different videos of girls raising their ring. I got it, honey. I got married. I got married. So it's not about following your career. It's about finding a husband and start having babies and start building that family and get in the kitchen and start being a homemaker. It's not about your career at all. Hey Ty, hey Chris. And so it's quite interesting because Martha is like, yeah, that's cute and all. I was married now, exactly. That's cute and all, but I got other stuff that I want to do, and I'm really navigating how I can do this because yeah, I'm a pretty girl because she was tall, blonde, and pretty. I'm a pretty girl, and so I go into modeling using what I got to get what you want, to get what I want. So as beautiful women tend to learn to do, there's a way that you can get things with your social capital of your beauty. You can get into clubs, and sometimes it's simple as that, like get into clubs, get into certain circles of people because you are a pretty person. I don't want to say this is exclusive to women, but you know, as a because it happens in all cultures. Attractive people have privileges, but using it um is like almost pushed as a tool for women to use to get things that they want. Because look, this is a world of patriarchy where we are objectified, and sometimes this can be a tool of persuasion to get things. So that's what it is. And not just on no prostitution shit, on, like I said, getting into spaces that you normally wouldn't be able to get into, or, other people may have to jump through hoops to get to, a country club. Think about something as simple as Studio 54. Remember, the whole premise of the club was this amazing club that was free and everybody come to, diverse, blah, 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 blah. But to get in, there's this velvet rope that somebody has to let you in because you either are hot, you are a celebrity, you look good. When you get in this club, you're gonna make the atmosphere of the club because people are gonna be like, when you get in this club, everybody's fine. Everybody is a celebrity. Everybody's da 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 da. So there was like this gatekeeping kind of thing that was like, oh, if you're not hot enough, you're not getting in the club. Period. And so because it's a standard and blah blah blah. So if you're this beautiful bombshell person, you know I'm gonna be picked to get in here. So it happens. That's just a perfect example. That's just a perfect example of how that works. But it happens in other things too. We have literal research and studies around um, pretty women getting job opportunities with less skills or worse resumes compared to a more homely looking woman. Like they intentionally put them in interviews to see the chances of them getting the job, even though this pretty girl, traditionally pretty girl, um, had a worse resume, had a less qualified resume. And so it's literally research and studies has been done and is literal empirical data to prove that these things happen. And so Martha, being stereotypical white feminine beauty, she was using modeling to make money while her other friends was getting like little jobs. She was getting making a lot of money modeling. And so it allowed her to travel to New York, travel to travel to, just kind of do things that outside of the box other when it comes to opportunity. And so one of those opportunities was, first of all, she got married early. She got married young. Um and so, but she got opportunities to go to New York and then kind of hobnob with people who she normally wouldn't. So even her getting into the stock market was because she was a pretty girl, white, and smart. So I don't want to take that away. It wasn't just beauty. It was I can be conversational and demure and perform femininity in a way that doesn't seem to be intimidating to men. I know how to put my face on to where I want to say respect, that's a stretch, but um I can be in the space without it being intimidating. So she goes and become one of the most successful at the time, one of the most successful stockbrokers. They weren't used to a woman being on the team, and and her just being there, just being a beautiful woman amongst all of these men. Men didn't mind there because she's a looker. Now they might, of course, this is the 60s, 70s. So, child, of course, she had to be in a skirt. She had to be in heels. She had to look like something to look at, or we wouldn't want you to be there. We would have pushed you out. But because you look like something, now you're in the mix just because we like looking at you. But also Martha is smart, so she's paying attention and learning and investing and da 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 da. So this is when she started making more money than her actual husband. So her and her husband get this beautiful house. Well, I don't want to say beautiful. It is land and a house in Connecticut. Now, this house is a fixer upper. It's a big land and big house, but y'all know houses and land did not cost the same way they do now. So this is back in the day. So of course it was a steal, but also it was a steal because it was a fixer upper, and they literally themselves, her and her husband, made up the like fixed it up, like painted it and redid this. And so her father was a butcher. Her father was I don't think her father was rich, but I don't think he was poor. I think he was middle class. I didn't pay attention to that part. I couldn't remember exactly. But she comes from a family that was either like regular, like not poor, but not rich, I think. I think working class. And so just regular. Um, so I think he had a butcher's block that she brought and put into her kitchen, and she started to build this land out, her and her husband. Like they built a chicken coop, all the stuff that we know Martha to be now. Like she was building that stuff back in it, not branding stuff, but how she lives. She was like having her own chickens, having her own garden because her father taught her how to garden. um having growing her own vegetables. All that stuff was a part of her lifestyle before she got like famous. She was already doing this stuff because this was a part of what her father taught her to do. Like it was a part of her young years too. So he taught her how to garden, he taught her how to take care of animals and all that kind of stuff. So when she become an adult and she finds a partner, her husband, who was really, really dope initially. Um, well, he was really, really dope. I'll go into that later. Um, she finds a partner that supports all of this. So he's a what does he do? I don't know. Whatever her husband does, he got a job. He got a job too. Who cares about him? but he, but basically she has a partner that supports her in building this homestead that she is on. So they repaint, refurbish this amazing house. They buy this old broken down um barn in upstate Connecticut or upstate New York. I don't know. She buy it from somewhere, and they move the barn to her, put her land. Um, it's raggedy, and then they fix it up. Her husband builds her a chicken house, and they buy these like exotic chickens, like these, they're chickens, but they're kind of like special chickens. And remember, this is a time when shit is cheap. And she is making money because she's in the stock market. She is making money. So imagine the time when shit is super cheap, but also you are like booming in the stock market. So much so that you're making more money than your husband. So fast forward to she starts there's a company that she that she invest in, and in the stock market you are gambling, and in this stock they gambled wrong, and so they lost money. So in her brain she was like, yo, this is cute, this was cute for as long as it was cute. Now it's getting late, so I'm tired of this. So what can I actually do to that I love to do, and make this a career for me? So she started, because she was in this like traditionally white area of her state. She started to do catering and do parties for people. And so people in her area she started to be famous in her area for like amazing parties and amazing like cooking, and doing these little gatherings and these get-togethers. And so she started a catering business, and she hired multiple people that she knew in the field to help her, and literally started to build a team of people to cater. Good cooks, good decorators, just a circle of, I think it was like six people, I'm not for sure, but just a small group of people that would come to her house and cook and set up things for catering businesses, catering jobs that she would do. So this was the start of her business, her new venture. And so she started to become like Ina Garden. Like Ina Garden comes after her, but it's something that comes from my time period. Barefoot Contessa. She was a caterer too. But Martha is the standard. Martha is the one who started this flow. And so people described her when they come, like some of the women were in the documentary describing when they came to her house, like for interview to get the job. And they were like, she's this tall, statuesque, blonde woman who has this silky, deep voice, who just screams high class, high, like, just demure, just like this high classy thing. Like, and it's not like abrasive high class. It's like welcoming and homely. And I mix welcoming and homely. um Welcoming and homely. um and so but she was a perfectionist too. Like she wants shit to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, this is not. it's not going to her customers. And so they talk about her work ethic, her and in a positive way, but they also talk about her thievery. So these women that she recruit in were bringing ideas to the table in her business, and she was selling it as if it was because they were bringing it in her business. She was selling it as if it was her ideas, and a lot of people were the women who were a part of her team were complaining that, girl, you didn't give us credit. And it's in this, you don't put one of the recipes of the girls was in her cookbook, her first and most popular cookbook, Martha Stewart Entertaining. And so catering to lifestyle gurus pipelines. Yes. Um, and a lot of people, even when we think about that pipeline, there's a lot of people who we see today who were in the documentary who are either chefs or caterers or TV personalities, especially the older ones. They come from the life. They're inspired by Martha Stewart, because Martha Stewart, she comes from she does all of this Food Network shit. Only people before her is Julia Childs. The most popular cookbook is Julia Childs, one of the at the time. What is it? Something about French living. I can't remember what Julia Childs is specifically called, but it's French cooking by Julia Childs. And Julia Childs' personality was this high-pitched woman voice, and she's doing all these kind of quirky mistakes in the kitchen, dropping shit, breaking shit. She just got to kind of have this fun embrace this fun personality and embracing the mistakes that happen, that are naturally going to happen in the kitchen. Martha Stewart I don't want to say she did the opposite, but instead of embracing the mistakes, Martha embraced the perfection of it. Martha embraced, you're not going to see no mistakes with me. You're going to see the end product. You're going to see me do it perfectly, and we're going to edit and make it look sickening to where this looked like it's streamlined and seamless and there was no mistakes. You're not going to see Martha Stewart dropping eggs on the floor, chickens falling, and how, well, y'all may not know if y'all not old enough to know who Julia Childs. I don't want to say she was silly, but she didn't take herself too seriously. She's kind of like, you gonna make mistakes in the kitchen, and just accept it. You're the chef. You're the only one in the kitchen, so don't worry about it. Don't overthink about it. She was kind of like that person. Martha Stewart is more like, honey, this is how you do it. I'm showing you how to do it right. And you're not gonna see her mess up. You're gonna see her do it right. And it's gonna be edited in a way to where you're gonna see the perfectionism of it. And that's just who Martha Stewart was. And people loved it. People loved both of those. It's not a negative. I don't want to sell it as a negative for either one. People loved both of these things, because what people don't understand about Martha Stewart and what she tapped into an aspirational, high class level of womanhood. So even though she was living a feminist, in a way, a feminist life, because she literally comes into the stock market, makes a tons of money like the men, and it wasn't normal. She was the first. Tons of money. So, and she's with a partner who is allowing her to do this, because this was not a time when women could just go and do things. You could be a secretary, you could be a homemaker. It wasn't looked at positively for you to be out here working. You are a woman. You're supposed to be in the house taking care of your husband and starting a family. That is what womanhood was at the time. And so she was actually not living that life. She was actually out here boss girling in the stock market, making money and building a business. I'm building a catering business. Yes, I'm doing it in the kitchen, But behind the scenes, I'm talking about that money. I'm getting clients. I'm da da da. She is literally building an empire as a woman in a time when that just was not done. Do you see what I'm saying? So, but the image that you see, that you get out in regards to her branding is a high aspirational, high class femininity. Like it is when the first time she comes on television, she has this velvet dress on with like lace and her hair is cute and she is giving this kind of demure woman. And this is her. This is the life she's living. She's not selling you a dream. This is the life she's living. But the dichotomy is she's a boss and she's selling you aspirational entertaining of a homemaker. So I am going to be classy. I'm going to show you how to dress your tables. I'm going to show you how to cook your food. I'm being a domesticate. I'm being a homemaker, but that is the dichotomy. I'm a boss too, bitch. Behind the scenes, I'm a motherfucker who is firing and hiring and making this money and negotiating these deals like the men. And that is gagging the men behind the scenes. Because every dude in the beginning of in the first episode and in the second episode, I think it's like 4 parts. Every dude is like, you never would have thought, we never would have thought Marsha would have went on to be who she is until we got to know who she was. Like us seeing her, we're just looking at, oh, this is a pretty blonde woman. Let me look her ass and look at her legs. So that's what the interest in her was. Barefoot Contessa is my favorite home to table personality. She was like the mixture of Julia Childs and Martha. She definitely was. I love Ina Garden. She was, I just like what I love about Ina is I think that's perfectly right. Her mixing Martha and Julia. But I think what sets her apart as well is that thank you, Wade, is that um we get to see Ina's partner, the sweet and tenderness of their relationship. You didn't see Julia Child's partner. You didn't see Martha Stewart's partner. You saw, you see Ina actually cooking for Jeffrey. You actually see her actually feeding Jeffrey, and she incorporates Jeffrey into. I recently started watching Barefoot Contessa through like from season 1 all the way because this got like 16 seasons, child. So, but I wanted to watch her through just to see how she kind of started introducing Jeffrey. And so Jeffrey is Barefoot Contessa's husband, Ina Garden's husband. And how she started her branding, and uh and so she started incorporating Jeffrey, but not in kind of like this. Jeffrey is a sweet man, so he would go and they are showcasing also like their romance. Like he's going to get wine for dinner because he can't cook like Ina, so he's going to pick the wine. What's going to be perfect for this? She's preparing beef Wellington tonight, so Ina's husband. Yes, her husband Jeffrey. She has they both are Jewish, and so they met. Or Jeffrey's beard. Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's Jeffrey's beard. Hmm. So let's sidetrack because I think that's a good sidetrack. I think that's a so. But okay, I don't know just nothing about Jeffrey's um sexuality. But let's play with the idea. This is a side note. HBO. This is just a side conversation because it has something to do with it, but I want to talk about this because you're making me think about it, Chris. So I think that white men, because of their position in power in society, the hierarchy of power when it comes to patriarchy, I think white men have more freedom to express themselves when it comes to how they're able to present because of where they are, especially if they are men of money. And so there are some white husbands who read as gay, but they're not gay, who are allowed to be kind of soft and feminine and not be kind of, they can be dandy like, they don't, because their career is based in like finance or real estate or something that's not blue collar, working class, which is seemed to be deemed to be more masculine. And if you follow, not that you should be doing this, but I just do it because culturally, if you follow the white culture in a way, particularly American culture, there was excuse me, there was a uptick in a backlash to especially around the late 1800s, around the early 1900s. So late 1800s, during the Gilded Age, there was white men who, we see them in the tuxedos with the tails and the top hats. There was a fancy fair of seen as dandy and high class city boys. When you get into that was, and it was kind of like celebrated, like, oh my God, these primitive, y'all know the show Gilded Age. So the dudes of the Gilded Age, that kind of, those Mr. Russells, those dudes, that era, there was a time in our culture where that was seen as the peak and pinnacle. But there was a backlash in the early 1900s that started to be negative, to be these kind of city slicking dandy boys. That started to be seen as feminine. So what we started to happen is this backlash with the working class against them, because not only because of economic and finance, but also what masculinity looked like. And so this is when we get the Teddy Roosevelt times, where he's on horses and being on cowboys and being a homestead person. This is the first time we see a president who is on a horse and who has a cowboy hat and who is trying to give this image of a frontier man, because that's more masculine than the cityfied dandy with the tuxedos, which is what most of the presidents prior to Teddy Roosevelt was. Are y'all following me? So that's when we get Teddy Roosevelt selling this new kind of masculinity, where we get these images of Paul Bunyan, and these are fake people. Well, I think Paul Bunyan was fake, but these kind of characters, Davy Crockett, we started to get, even in our fantasy, in novels and stuff, we started to get this more rustic man. So in the early 1900s, we start to get this different image of masculinity that was not city dressed up and dandy. There was a backlash against those things. Okay. So we start to, of course, racism plays a part in this. We start to get, but I'm talking about just white culture. We're included, but because we were coming out of slavery and we were going through Reconstruction, we didn't have much power in a sense to push culture so much. So this was what was happening in white discourse. And we saw it in gay male depictions. So when we look at comic books and when we look at magazines, we start to see this shift, because at first the status quo was this kind of dressed up high class dude, but then in other depictions they start to have these kind of more yeah, like rustic. It started to be more rustic, that kind of Paul Bunyan. And we have some black, like what's the one who was working on the railroad? Who's the black fictional character that was John Henry? Yes, John Henry. Isn't that the name of him? He was working on the railroad and he kind of had, they were working him so hard that he died. So there, even John Henry is a character that kind of was birthed, even though he was black, he was birthed. It's kind of the residual, um, kind of like rippling effect of this kind of hard working man. Yeah, so that's one of the characters that comes that's birthed out of this. So Paul Bunyan, I'm trying to think of other ones that y'all know. Davy Crockett, Paul Bunyan, all these kind of woodsmen, they're lumberjacks and lumbermen, they're out in the forest and they're doing all this kind of stuff that is now deemed to be like frontier cowboy man, as opposed to prior to that. Remember, in the Gilded Age, that era, late 1800s, we're seeing that kind of dandy like masculinity. So there was a backlash in that. So and so by the time, so I want y'all to visually clock this. Okay, I want y'all to think about it, what I'm telling y'all. So we go from high class 2000 and not 2000 late 1800s, we get the high class dandy top hats, tuxedos, that kind of, this is how men are dressing. And they were expanding west, absolutely. So that's when the cowboy stuff start to be incorporated in that kind of frontier homestead man type of deal. Also, and so in the 1900s, we get that kind of rustic, with that kind of rustic woodsman, blah 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 blah, frontier man. So what starts to happen, and I want you to pay attention, in this mid 1900s, we actually start to see a combination of both of them. So the image that we see in the 50s and 60s and 70s is a combination. Think about men's fashion, is a combination of both of them. So now they're wearing slacks, but they have like looser fitted, they got page boy hats, they got looser fitted blazer jackets. It's not prim and proper, but it's not overalls and baggy, dirty ass cowboy gear. Do you see what I'm saying? You see how the culture blended the fashion, where it's in slacks and still, and kind of giving you the remnants um of the 1800s, but also you're getting kind of the not too uptight of the working class as well. Y'all, you see what I'm saying? How visually men's fashion is giving you that. So I wanted to explain all that because I think that gives you an example of image of men, particularly white men. They have a little bit more freedom to do what they want, especially if they are in a position of power where they have money. And so sometimes you will meet men who, it is very clear that if they were in any other culture, that people would be thinking that, especially if they black, especially if they were compared to the black culture, they would read as gay, like their wife is a beard, but they're not. They're literally just free to be kind of softer, to live a softer life because they're white and rich. So I don't have people forcing me to be hyper masculine. I don't have people questioning my manhood in a way that black men are questioned. And not question as in sexuality, but question as in humanity. Like white men at this time in the early 1900s and late 1800s, they're calling you boy and taking away your manhood and making you feel weak and those kind of things. So when we get further in the culture, white men they can be free. They don't have to put on a show of masculinity to be more man like, to be adult. They don't have anything to prove. So they're able to be softer and more feminine. And why I look like I put some baby hair in this wig, and I don't like that. I hate baby hair. I hate that. Girl, what is your tea? That is Banji. I am not a Banji girl. I don't want to be a Banji girl like that. Why is it you see that little, it's just a little string of hair. It's not no thing, but the way it's getting on camera is giving her Benji baby here, girl. That is like. Oh no. So what was I at? So yeah, they're allowed to be more free. So I don't know if Jeffrey was her beard or not. I don't know. I didn't get into their business like that. I don't know what's the tea on Jeffrey. I guess I had to look into that. But I have seen men be a little bit more softer. White men be a little bit more softer. And he's a special kind of white because he's a Jewish white man, but a spicy white. um, but they're allowed to be a little bit more softer, especially if they have money. And so it's not necessarily a beard, it could be, but they can maneuver through the world a little bit easier without being living up to the standard of masculinity. Long as they have a wife and 1.5 children, they can wear makeup, walk with a swish, and still be considered straight. Amen. To certain swaths of people. So yeah, so let me go back to Martha. But I did want to talk about that a little bit. And I have been kind of playing with the idea of doing like a scripted video about that, and I might do it anyway. Because it's other elements of it that I wanted to explain too. But we're talking about Martha Stewart. Chris, you got me off my flow. But thank you. I thought that was a good segue into. Yeah, so I talked about the feminist dichotomy of her life. The her being a woman of power and business savvy in business, but doing it while selling high fem domesticity. This is they seem like they don't match, but putting them together was a brilliant idea from her for her to build her empire. Nobody is telling them that licking lollipops and eating bananas is gay. Right, Brandon. Exactly. Nobody is giving, and it's ridiculous. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't see those kind of conversations in their circles, those silly kind of conversations. You'll see it'll be there's some other patriarchy things, masculine things that'll come up, like your wife making too much more money than you. Now that can be demasculating, but usually in those spaces, that's not really happening on those smaller levels, like licking lollipops and eating bananas. so um so another element, so I think this is either in episode 2 or 3, because I think it's 4 episodes. She was sacrificing something. She sacrificed for bigger and more because she ended up getting a divorce. And she got a divorce because she was business, like she was about her business, and it was taking up her time. Her catering business was taking up her time. Her starting her magazine was taking up her time. Everything that had to do, you cannot run a business like if you're busy. Ain't no, this is with men too. Somebody with a successful business, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but if you have a successful business, as somebody who is starting out with, I've been a full-time creator since 2019. So living off of my business, I have been, and I'm not even rich. Like, I'm nowhere near rich. Nowhere near rich. But living off of my own business, I have been living off my own business since 2019. And so because of that, I can tell you it is really, really difficult. It takes a lot of time. As somebody with ADHD, it takes a lot of investment of your time to build relationships, to build when we think about the money, to set up your accounts, to set up like hiring an accountant, hiring your tax person, hire just all these things that you have to do um to make sure you're up and up on your business side, but also marketing yourself and building the relationships and branding yourself to be excellent at whatever you do. Okay. And selling that. And I'm not really great at it. I'm good enough to where I'm living off of it, but I'm learning as I go to be this. But Martha, because of her access to certain people and certain things, she was producing on this high level really, really early on, having access to people who can get her on TV, having access, like she's doing spots on Good Morning America. She's doing, you get what I'm saying? She having these access points because of the rich connections that she has. And that takes you to another level. You're just gonna have to, you have to scale. You're almost forced to scale your business. And when you scale your business, you scale the fucking time that you spend away from your family. And she had a daughter and she had her husband. And her husband got tired of it. He was not in the he was not in the documentary, him or Martha Stewart, but they but people around them were saying that, he was not feeling her, not, they went from building this amazing house and homestead together to her now being a mogul. And so think about that. They're literally spending all their time together painting and redoing the tiles on the floor, all this kind of dream husband and wife stuff. And she's a perfect wife, like in the sense of how, as far as his status, like, you know, we want to ignore this. Not we want to ignore it, but we don't talk about this enough, or do we? Anyway, a wife is a status symbol for men. I know we want to pretend like it is this love and romance, and that might be a part of some people's story. But marriage, the history of marriage, like literally the history of marriage, it was not about no damn love. It was about ownership of property. Your wife was your property. Your wife brought you political connections and monetary connections. They were trading their daughters and women in their lives to make political connections and to build power. It was not no fucking love and romance. That wasn't what marriage was about. People loved to act like, especially when back in the day when we were fighting for gay marriage, pre to Oberfeld and winning in 2015. It was about the sanctity of marriage. Marriage wasn't no fucking romantic and sanctified thing. Get the fuck out of here. It was about property. And especially in America, because when slavery stops, not around slavery, it really started to do some when slavery stopped. It really started to shift because coverture laws, you know what coverture laws is? Coverture laws is laws that said that whatever is going on with the wife, the husband covers her. And so whatever is hers is his. Like she becomes a part of him. So whatever she owns, whatever's hers, whatever she inherits is over. The husband covers her. And so coverture laws was literally taking women's wealth from them. Like their father, say the father who had tons of money and he only had 3 girls. And so he has to pass his money down to his girls instead of his sons. So literally these white men to not squander their wealth and men can come in and take their wealth, they had to make rules and laws and contracts to protect their daughters, because dudes will come and try to marry bitches just because they got money. and romance is, the idea of romance is tricking women's mind into thinking, oh, he's my damsel, I'm a damsel in distress, and I'm the princess and he's the king, he's coming to sweep me off my feet. Like books and plays and all this stuff with Romeo and Juliet, it was making women like delusional about the business side of a marriage. And so dudes could come in and sweep them off their feet and literally use her as a way to come in and take all of her money. And so fathers used to have to make laws to kind of combat that, to combat these coverture laws. Also, when you get in the 1900s, you have women who can't own, 1800s, women who can't own property. And then when they start owning property, they can't have bank accounts in their name. They can't have credit cards in their name. You see how it slowly becomes, but the husband can. So you couldn't even go out here and live an independent life as a woman because you couldn't get a bank account. You couldn't have property. So like if you wanted to be free, you couldn't. You wanted to be an independent person, you could not, because the structures in our culture won't even allow you to get your own house. Like now we got women having their own house, having their own bank account, credit cards, businesses, da da da. There was a time when women couldn't get any of that without a husband. You got to get it through your brothers or your father. You could not get it on your own. And so for men, think about it. How many presidents of the United States have been single? Not one. It is a status symbol when you get to a certain age for a man to be married, because it shows stability. It is a status for you to be married. You are not looked at well as a single man. Yes, when you're young, yes, you're supposed to be out here getting all the pussy, fucking the bitches, traveling, da 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 da, objectifying women, all that kind of stuff. That's what you're supposed to do as a young man. But once you get 35 plus, baby, you need, even your homeboys are saying you need to settle down. You need to get a wife. Why are you running the streets at 35? You too old for this. That even even the circle of men, society is saying it is time for you to do that. You feel what I'm saying? So your wife is a part of your building your status as a man. So you want her to look the part, like a nice wife, respectful, the balance of beauty and sex appeal. You want her to be beautiful enough for men to covet, but modest enough for men to for her to be respectable, like classy and that. So you need a balance of, you can't be no old hagger. That people talk so much stuff about Eleanor Roosevelt because she focused on her intelligence and not her look. She wasn't Jacqueline Kennedy. um Not classy like Diamond Styles. I don't feel like I'm classy. I'm a balance. But thank you. So you want that kind of men want that perfect ideal wife, and Martha Stewart was that. Like, she was tall, she was gorgeous, and she did this homely shit. She can entertain. If you're running for office, or you want to impress your mates, your colleagues, she's going to be the wife that has the table looking good. She's gonna be the wife that has that cooking that's delicious, that does the house is looking, the Christmas tree is up, and with perfect lighting, and everything is painted gorgeous. This is the sprawling estate that you can bring people to and impress them. She's gonna be that perfect wife. She was that for a very, very long time for him. But then you have her going into her business mindset. And so that takes away her time. She can't entertain for you. She can't take care of you. And imagine having this domestic ass wife, and then all of a sudden she turned into a mogul. And even though she's been like that all the time, you can't be taken care of. And then as you get older, and she's becoming more public, so everybody is like, oh, do you ever even see your wife? So it hurts dude's ego. And so he ended up divorcing Martha. But Martha is like, and I thought that this was powerful in what she was saying. She was like, while the divorce was horrible, I didn't want to get a divorce. I loved my husband, and I da da da. What I was doing was bigger. What I was becoming meant more to the world. it was more meaningful than one marriage. And I thought that that was powerful. In one of her interviews, she was like, this one marriage may be dope, but what I'm aspiring to is just bigger. And as you go along her story, you see she becomes Martha Stewart, one of the most billionaires, successful women in history, like a business icon, a brand icon. It was a time when they were talking about, it was her and Oprah. When it comes to women, it was her and Oprah making these $1 million moves. Groundbreaking, breaking the glass ceiling for women, because this was not happening for a woman. Opening up her business, going public with her business at a stock exchange, and it's going public like $18 higher than what they estimated it was going to be worth. It was opening up $18 higher. No, a woman hadn't done that shit. And so when she said that about her marriage, she was like, I just don't regret it, because there was a purpose that was bigger for my life, and he couldn't enjoy the ride with me because whatever reason he feels neglected, and that might be fair for him to think, and he got off the train. But for her, she like, this was bigger than me now. It's bigger than this one marriage. And it's sad that I'm losing my husband, but this is what I have to sacrifice. What I'm sacrificing for something bigger and more. And I can't get to the more and be home fucking cooking and cleaning for you. What y'all think about that? Is that a good sacrifice? Is it not? Would y'all do it? If y'all were the husband, would y'all stay? Would y'all not stay? If you're feeling neglected, because I don't think he was wrong either. What do y'all feel about that? So another element of her documentary, there is this. Make sure you thumbs up if you are watching. Yay! Let me do the color ones. Let's see. This is one. Oh no, that was this one. Why is it not doing those firelights? Yay! I went to see Sasha Colby last night, and she was fucking dope. From Drag Race. I say Sasha Colby from Drag Race because she is she has become popular because of Drag Race, but I knew Sasha Colby years ago, starting in like '05, because I liked Continental, and she won Continental in 2012, I think, but she started competing in Continental in 2005. And honey, she had her show last night, and I went to it, and it was so good. I loved it. She killed it. It was so entertaining. She went through her story, like in her stage performance, she's telling her story as a little kid, kind of growing up and becoming this kind of trans drag queen or whatever. And then she talked about drag. Then she started talking about um growing up in Hawaii. So she do songs that represent Hawaii. And then she's talking about her continental journey. So when she gets on stage, she has this one, you think that she has like one gown on, but she actually has six. And so she's taking them off 2000 and Continental 2005, and then she doesn't make it. It's Continental 2006. She doesn't make it. So each time she doing a different gown. It is so fucking dope until she gets to where she does win, and she looks sickening. And she has one. It looks like she has one gown on, but she actually has like six of them. It's dope. So if Sasha Colby comes to you first and in person, Sasha Colby is a cool ass bitch. So why I'm promoting her is because I love her. So she so if you see her coming to your city, go see Sasha Colby's one woman show. It's so dope. That was a good sacrifice, although her husband could have easily stood by her side. You are totally right, Miss Brown. Oh, I don't know if you're a woman. I think you are. I'm not for sure. Forgive me if you're not. You are totally right, Miss Brown, because you we expect women to do that. We expect women to stand by their husbands while they're providing and being boss dudes. We expect the sacrifice from women to be um neglect and not being taken care of. Okay, good. Yes, we expect women to sit at home and sit at home, and you feel what I'm saying? And even though he's busy, 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 take that. I love it. Men are like the bus. You miss one, you catch the next one. Really? That's yes, that definitely. But also that's really anybody. If I having a man or having a partner is not hard. Having a great partner is hard. That is hard. But having a partner, you can pick somebody that has finding somebody in that 80 to 100% of what you want and need in your life is very hard. But finding somebody in that 50 to 60%, you can have a partner if you're willing to compromise that other 50 to 40%. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we can all compromise and be with somebody who is mediocre. That you can find somebody like that. Being with a partner is not hard. I can have a piece of trade come live with me and be in this house and pooching like I got me a husband. Charles, your dinner's ready. I can have all of them things. We all can do that. But I refuse to not have my 80 to 100%. I can be alone and be okay with being alone before I make the decision to be with some mediocre dude to come into my house just to have an image of having a man. I used to be like that when I was younger. I used to date people who I thought, you know, I'm just having a man. Now, fuck that. I'd rather be alone. And my return on investment with men has been suck. Has been my return on investment has been much much better when I invest in my friends, my platonic friends. It's been much 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 better. I haven't had a dude that I invested in that I got more out of ever. Usually I'm yeah, I just haven't had a I just haven't had a dude that I have to work super hard in the relationship to yeah. I've only had one dude that was like a super provider, and even him dealing with him because he was a provider, it was child, you have to deal with so much shit with him. And then you have the dude who is not much of a provider and you don't have to deal with that part, but then I feel like I have a dependent. I'm not I don't know. I haven't had a dude that had all the things. So it just hasn't been a return on investment to me. I have much, much more return on investment with my friends. So yeah, getting a dude, child, you can get one, but is he gonna be quality? But you can get one. You can have one sitting in the house. You can have some corny ass nigga. She's super dope, and she's the only girl that has ever been able to smoke me under a house. I have to tap out chiefing with her. That's funny. Oh yeah, I love Sasha. Um, I used to be ashamed of being like that, but I love the things that come along with domestic partnership and marriage. If you have a partner that is, that just match, I don't think, um, I just haven't found one that matched me. I just haven't. I do like the initial parts of relationships, but when the love dies down, what's left? And I haven't found a partner that what's left is good. Once you get past, ooh, the dick is good. Ooh, the feelings of love. Like after that 3-year mark, what happens after that? When that kind of whatever that initial love thing is, that romantic love and not the commitment love, what does that look like? So Martha, one of the aspects of what Martha talks about is in a lot of her interviews, people are asking her the frustration because of that feminist dichotomy of her being a woman, a businesswoman savvy, selling high femme domesticity. A lot of feminist women didn't like her, or not just feminist women, women in general. Some of them loved her. Like, ooh, how she goes about it is how I want to be. It's aspirational. It's like, oh my God, I want to be this woman who does the perfect parties and hosts the perfect events and have my girlfriends over for amazing dinner, cocktails, and wine and steak and blah, 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 blah. That's aspirational to a lot of people, including myself. But it also, for some women, it's like, ugh, I hate her. I don't have time to be that perfect. I don't have time to be that kind of upkept woman. I got kids. We're running around. I can't be that. It's an unattainable life. I can't do that. And so we hate her. There's women that are like that. And so Martha Stewart, in a lot of interviews, says, I don't know why people don't like me. And I'm like, Martha, are you fucking serious? The problem with being aspirational is that it is a thin line between you being an aspiration and you being just coveted, like somebody coveting and being jealous of you. Like it is a very thin line between, you know, aspiration and jaded bitches. And it is, you can easily go from being look at the rap girlies. I ain't even gonna get in that conversation, but look at the rap girlies. There's sometimes, let's not do it on the rap girlies. Look at it as I think Oprah is a perfect example. There is an aspirationalness to Oprah. There is being a black person and being proud of Oprah. I think that there's that, but then you got a lot of money, bitch, and you got access to a lot of things that we don't have. Bitch, you got houses in Maui, you got houses in Chicago, you got houses in Indiana, you got a ranch here, a ranch there. You ain't got no. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I got no choice but to be jaded. I feel like that is insecurity. You want to, but may not have the capacity to. Don't be mad at her. I agree. I don't look at her. I just don't have it. And also how I think about stuff too is some motherfuckers I just don't have the access that they have. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about white femininity. There is certain people that because of white femininity, we see it in ballroom, we see it in movies, we see it in multiple aspects. Just because people are high white femmes, they are being celebrated in our culture as black people, in our culture as a whole, as American culture. They're being celebrated just for being high white femme. Look at Jennifer Aniston. I don't know if y'all like her, but I don't dislike her. But I feel like Jennifer Aniston is a regular white girl. She is not a standout, knockout beauty to me. She's just a regular white girl. And nothing about her screams superstar to me. But I think she's regular. And so there's an access to being girl next door that I could never have. And there's a lot of people like that where I'm like, oh, you really are just a regular person. You don't stand out. Like I'm trying to think of who are some white women who are stand out beauties. Like stand out. Like not just regular white. Stand out beauties to y'all. Cause there's a lot of white girls. I'm like, oh, you so regular to me. I guess you famous because you just regular. Because you're not a stand. I think Linda Evangelista is a standout beauty when she was younger. Now she's gotten older and still her. She's still pretty, but she done got older, child. You age, so you get out of that youthful prettiness. Maybe ages, but look, it's the truth. We get old, and it's okay to be old. It's okay to have a little sag in your face, and it's okay. You still a human. You still deserve love. Da 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 da. I'm not saying that you don't deserve, but you don't. You ain't got the youthful beauty no more, honey. Honey, you in your 40s. You in your 50s. Honey, you not 20 something. You not 19, teen something. You're not that anymore. I think Linda Evangelista is one. I think Margot Robbie is one. I think Margot Robbie is a unusual beauty. Um, I think who else is? I think Blake Lively is an unusual beauty. The chick that played Age of Adeline, baby, that's one of my favorite movies, by the way. Um, I think she's an unusual beauty. I think that I don't think Emma Roberts. I think her auntie Julia Roberts. I think they are regular white women. I think they're pretty, but they just feel like regular white women. Like Julia Roberts, regular child. Um, yeah, they just some of them just be regular. Miss Thing, um, Elizabeth Moss, the one that played on Handmaid's Tale. I think that this is intentional though. But first of all, somebody said that she looked like George Washington, bitch, and I screamed. Bitch, when somebody on Twitter said, "Oh, George Washington face," bitch, I hollered. But Elizabeth Moss, she's just a regular white woman. I think that there are some white women who, because they are regular, they fit a certain aesthetic, and so whereas I think that other people who are not white can't be regular. They have to be exceptional beauties. I think we're getting in an era now where that kind of regular black girl um can kind of come up in a niche market, but I think that back in the day you had to be exceptionally beauty. Um you had to be exceptional, I think. Uma Thurman, you think she's an exceptional beauty or a regular white woman beauty? I think she regular white woman. I don't think she exceptional at all. Yeah. Yeah, I think she's very regular. Like you only, and I think that that's it. I think that I don't even think of it enough to be jealous of them because sometimes it's now like Linda. I think Linda is fucking exceptional. You don't look like Linda. You don't see a Linda Evangelista walking around. Anna Nicole Smith. I think Anna Nicole Smith is teetering on exceptional. No, I think she's exceptional because I'm thinking about when I seen her pictures when she was growing up. I'm like, oh, she was beautiful. Like, yeah, I think Anna was exceptional because I remember in pictures of her when she was young, and I'm like, oh wow, you gorgeous. That's why the white trans girls can pass on well. Their standard of beauty is lower. Mila Yakovich. Mila, that's a chick from Resident Evil. Do I think Mila? I think Mila is a chameleon. I think Mila, like Carolyn Murphy, Mila, Carolyn Murphy. Trying to think of all the white models that I think are regular. I think Christy Turlington is an exceptional beauty. Um, Margot Robbie, she looks a bit manufactured. Brooke Shields, when she was younger, was an exceptional beauty. I don't think Brooke Shields was regular at all. Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard is exceptional to me. I feel like Bryce Dallas Howard's beauty is exceptional to me for my taste in beauty. Um, Brooke Shields definitely exceptional beauty. When Brooke Shields was young, it was like, wow, I can see. Not, I was about to say something problematic. Um, I could, I could see why she was coveted because she was a fucking what? Like when I see pictures of her, I'm like, damn, like she was fucking gorgeous. Monica Bellucci, that's the chick from Matrix 2. Yeah, I think she's exceptional. Yes. Yeah, that's a chick from Matrix 2, right? That made Neo kiss her. Yeah, yeah, she was gorgeous. I don't know who Carla Bruni is. Who is that? Bryce Howard irks me ever since I saw her in The Help. Yeah, Bryce is everything to me. I loved her in The Lady in the Water. I loved her in she was exceptionally beautiful in that Jurassic Park movie she was in with that red bob. Oh my god. But I have a, a bias towards redheads. I love redhead white girls. Um Let me look up Carla. Where's my Carla Bruni? Christina Ricci. I don't think Christina Ricci is exceptional beauty. I think Christina Ricci is an unconventional beauty. Christina Ricci is the white version of Brandy to me. Brandy, her uniqueness makes her beautiful. Like it's something about Brandy's look that is so unique, it makes her beautiful, almost like a beautiful alien. And that's how I think about Christina Ricci. No, I don't find Carla Bruni to be anything exceptional. Yeah, I see white women that look like her all the time. All the time. Let me see when she was younger. Maybe it stands out there. Yeah, I can see why I can see I'm looking at younger pictures. I see women that look like her all the time. Like I see this is classic white beauty. That Bella Hadid. I actually like Gigi Hadid more than I like Bella Hadid, because Gigi looked more interesting to me. Um, This look is regular to me. This is kind of like Jane Seymour. This is I can see like I can see a if I saw her on the street, I'd be like, oh, she's a pretty white girl. But it's very normal. It's not stand out to me. But yeah, the I see. I don't want to say I see them every day, like you just. But I have seen this beauty before. I've seen this level of it. It doesn't look interesting to me. For me, it's like, oh, I know. There's tons of girls that I see. She's gonna be beloved at the high school or at the college because yes, she's a beautiful woman, but I done seen her before. It's not exceptional. It's just regular white woman beauty. Skinny nose, yeah, diamond shaped face, wide forehead, yeah, yeah, just regular. But I think this is a good example. You know that Bella Hadid beauty, and sometimes it's just like they're gonna have access in that kind of way. Um, who said Rhea Perlman? Child, what? You must be. That must be a joke. Rhea Perlman is. I don't want to say she ugly, but she is, honey. Your classic ugly Jewish woman. but I think that, but I think that there is a. Um, I think there's always antithesis to whatever the beauty standard. And there's people who benefit for being the antithesis of whatever the exalted beauty is. So if it's a blonde, bombshell, blue-eyed beauty, there is going to always be somebody else that you can love. Um, Real look like every average that, and they benefit from being the anti that. So and it can be in various decisions, in not decisions, in various arenas. So I think that there are people who love Kelly Rowland not because she's not beautiful. Kelly Rowland is an exceptionally beautiful black woman, hands down, no question about it. But I do believe that there's a lot of people who love her and stand her because she is the antithesis of Beyonce, because of the anger of colorism and us pedestalizing Beyonce. There's going to be people say, I like Kelly better than Beyonce. Not that Kelly is not beautiful. Kelly is gorgeous, hands down. But there are going to be people who only fuck with her because she's the opposite of Beyonce. There is going to be people who like even when you like the blonde hair Bob Shell, identifiable dark skin. Yes. I think people do that with their singing voices too. Kelly and Michelle both. Um mm, I think the voice. I think Michelle is more the voice. I think Kelly is more the beauty. Um um what else? Who else is a good example? Um you see it in music when something becomes mainstream and popular. At first, people was like, if it when it was underground and unknown, they like, oh yeah, I love this. Da, 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 this is dope. And then when it becomes popular, then they like shun it away. People are contrarians. People, it's a couple of examples of that, like in the world where I only like this because it's the opposite of this. And not as in opposite as in beauty and ugly, but you're pedestalizing this. Contrary Marys annoy me. But it's the way of the world, of some people in the world. So so I say all of that in regards to Martha Stewart, because like Martha, you are, and because your brand is about perfection and you're showing this perfect way of doing stuff, this cooking and cleaning and taking care of home. It's a certain perfection that people can aspire to, but it's easily switched to where they don't like you because they are jealous and they covet what you have and they feel like they don't have access to it. So later on in the documentary, they share all the stuff that leads up to them, all the leads up to them. Diamond, you are slimming down so sexily. That waist and that toned arm. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it's getting. I've been hitting the gym, trying to not plateau. So I don't know about it being toned. I just feel like because I'm losing weight, it's showing more of my muscle mass. But the waist is snatched though. The waist is getting snatched, honey. The waist is coming on in, baby. Stomach is getting flat. It's definitely working worth the money, honey. Definitely slimming down. Um, but they start going into Martha's how she went to prison. So that all the shit that led up to her going to actual prison and the decision she made to go to prison because she had enough money to to get a sentence and fight it to and appeal it to get to the point where it won't even be no fucking where it could be just some a ankle bracelet or something. Like she could have fought it, but she she didn't. She was like, I just want to I just want to do my motherfucking time and cool. Which was like a powerful kind of, usually motherfuckers who got money will fight it to the bare. They got the money to do it, and they're the ones sitting at home chilling. They weren't gonna put her in jail until it was time for her to go to prison. She was gonna be sitting at home chilling until she got the her lawyers to negotiate. But Martha was like, no, fuck that. I want to get this behind me. It's already ruined my business on a certain level. So I'm just gonna go do the time. She's like, and I thought that was some boss ass shit. She was like, yo, I'm just gonna go do the time. Cool. And literally went to prison. I thought that shit was dope as fuck. I don't know. I thought it was some boss bitch ass shit. Oh, fuck y'all little shit. I'm about to come do the time, be on my, and just her mind on how she was gonna come up out of this. She was already planning it. She had one of the prison women's fucking knit her a fucking poncho so she could come out of the prison. She knew that the cameras was gonna be there. Come out of the prison with a poncho, honey. I'm still that bitch. So let me show you how I'm gonna do this. And then I'm about to flip it and do a reality TV show. I'm about to play up the dichotomy between me and Snoop Dogg and this. Now that I done been to prison, I got this stain. I'm about to still play up this kind of white femininity to this gangster rap dude and play that up and really build a whole new brand for myself. Baby, brilliant. Because I know people are going to play off of this dichotomy between me and him. And both of us, Me and Snoop Dogg need a boost in our career because his music ain't hitting like it used to hit. So he's trying to do other things outside of rap and come up in another brand, another brand standard for himself. So cool, let's put it together and make it work. Brilliant. So not only does she come back swinging. She rebrands herself, and this is also a privilege. But what I also said, because people was like, oh, she's never gonna come back from this. She's never gonna come back from this. But what I also said, my thoughts when I was watching it, and I had typed it in my notes. When you are selling aspiration, you never go out of style. So when people were saying like this is gonna destroy her brand, she's never gonna come up. In my brain, I was like, yeah, right. Even when it was coming up, soon as they said she was going to prison, I was like, okay, she gonna go to prison and she gonna come right back out because I know how whiteness work. I know how white womanhood works. I know how much grace we give white women. Even if they do some horrible shit, we give them grace. Look, that's a part of our culture to give them grace, to infantilize them, and to give them fucking grace. And so, but also knew that a rich white woman, motherfuckers is going to be aspiring to be her, regardless of whatever her past was. They're going to, if she display it of the right way, she is going to be aspirational again. Her shit, the team has spun it before she even went in there. Absolutely. And how she put it, there's a section when she was telling, I'm gonna go to prison. So let me tell y'all, let me give y'all like a statement about it. And so she, and she's like, I'm gonna miss all my chickens, I'm gonna miss all my dog. And she started running this list of shit, rich woman stuff that she gonna miss. I'm gonna miss my chickens, I'm gonna miss my apple orchards, I'm gonna miss my and I was sitting there screaming, yes, Martha. She was just listing this in her statement. She was just listing all this rich shit that everybody don't have. And I was cackling. I was like, how do you not, first of all, Martha, girl, how do you not know that this is going to read wrong to people? But also, I don't care. I'm going to prison. Who cares? I'm about to tell y'all what I missed because this is my life. There's an element to this about Gwyneth Paltrow too. Like people, when her goop situation, they mentioned it in the documentary how Gwyneth Paltrow was trying to move herself into this kind of Martha Stewart living type of space. And I was like, I don't think we'll never have another Martha Stewart. It's like we'll never have another Oprah. There was that came in a time that it was needed, and that time is not going to exist again. So Oprah coming up and talk, and how she, and her mindset, and what put her in a position to think to do what she did. You'll never have that time again. You'll have another talk show guru or TV personality, absolutely, but you'll never have another Oprah. It took her past and who she is and her mindset about life to create Oprah. And it took the time that our culture was in to create Oprah. So those combinations that combination of things will never happen again. And the same thing goes with Martha. White feminism, white femininity, being this rich white mogul and being this domesticate, people are not invested in that stuff in the same way, in the way they were in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So the way our culture was set up and who she was and where she came from, that combination is not going to happen again. So Gwyneth Paltrow, go sit down. Not saying that Gwen thought she was saying that. Other people were saying that. But I think about Goop. And Gwen is saying, the culture, they want me to not act like I'm rich. Like, they want me to pretend that I'm not rich. Like, when I tell you my top 5 things to buy people, I'm rich, sweetie. So sometimes I'm going to buy some rich people shit. She didn't say this, but this is what she said in other words. Like she was like, sometimes when I give you my top 5 things to give to people, it's not going to be accessible to you because I'm rich. So I'm not giving gifts that are cheap. I'm not going to Dollar Tree. I'm not going to Kmart to buy gifts for people. I'm going to the Louis Vuitton store. I'm going to Christian Dior. I'm going to where I shop. So of course my list of shit, because I think she got some backlash when she was doing this kind of. She did like a Christmas haul, not a Christmas haul, but a Christmas 5 things I get people for. I can't remember what it was, but it was something where she was telling the people what she gives people for gifts. And because it was like a YouTube video, people were in the comments like, girl, we can't afford this stuff that you talking about. But that's not what it's meant to be for you, to be affordable for you. It's me telling you what I get people for gifts. And I'm rich. So what you think? And that's how I felt. Being aspirational and relatable don't always go hand in hand. And sometimes it can't. There some people have so much money that you cannot relate to them. I remember Oprah on Trevor Noah on the Daily Show. And she was talking about making her own avocados in her orchard, in her avocado orchard. Do you have an avocado orchard, Brandon? I don't have an avocado orchard. I have to go to Kroger or Walmart to get avocados. I can't go to my yard and pick out avocados. There is absolutely no way I am going to relate to the level of money that Oprah or Martha Stewart or a Gwyneth Paltrow or these people with coins. I'm not going to ever relate to that. Never, ever, ever. It's impossible. Like when I think about it, I'm like, it's just not. The grocery store is my orchard as well. And we are even blessed and privileged in that because there's some people who don't have grocery stores, who live in food deserts, who don't even have access to that level of money or the level of money that we are talking that we are. We can go, I can walk up the street and go to the grocery store. There are some people who live in areas that don't even have that. So sometimes stuff isn't even it's impossible for it to be relatable. Rihanna, Beyonce, all of those girls, yes, just have a certain level of coins that you just. I can't relate to that, but I'm also somebody that's not going to be in the comments complaining about not being able to relate to it. I'm gonna be in the comments saying, "Yes, bitch, work." I don't got none of that, but word out. They be having their own water source in the backyard. Exactly. I must, let me head to my orchard. Let me go ahead and head to my orchard, baby, and pick me some tomatoes and some apples and some watermelon. My garden, my personal garden, aka that I call Kroger's. I love shopping at Kroger's. Here in Houston, in Texas, we have a store chain called HEB that I love, and one of the more upscale ones is Central Market. I love shopping there because they have shit that you can't get at regular stores like Walmart or Kroger. But Kroger and Central Market are my favorite. But yeah, they're gonna be my gardens. You call it your orchard. I'm gonna call it my gardens. I love HEB. I hate going to the Kroger by my house. Oh, I love my Kroger. My Kroger is dope. But my Kroger is also in kind of like a bougie area of area town. It's like on the cusp. It's like on the, you know how you have, I live in an area that's not hood. It's like regular. It's not like ghetto. It's just regular. But I'm right next to an area, the River Oaks area, that is like bougie. And so in Memorial City area. And so there's a Memorial Road that has all these mansions. And so by San Felipe and Memorial Road and Woodway, all these areas. And it's nothing but like big $1 million houses, $3 million, $2 million, da 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 da. And so my Kroger is right there on San Felipe and Voss. And it's like right there where all the bougie people is. And so because of where it's at, I can feel like, ooh, I'm going to the bougie Kroger. Let me see what other points that I want to make. Where am I at? I'm at, okay. Okay, I already made that point. I was saying, I made the point about her using blackness as a springboard to rebound herself. The weed smoking gangster rapper Snoop Dogg, using him as a dichotomy to her, like intentionally doing a show of putting them together, and she's creating CBD pills and he's a weed smoker. So like her doing that was so intentional, but it's also playing on the racist tropes that comes with him being a black gangster rapper and her being a white femininity domesticate da 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 da. It is literally forcing you to see her like you used to see her by putting him next to her. Does that make sense? And there is a undercurrent of racism in there. It is it can be a little deceptive, but I intentionally know that I need to do this. Because of how we think about Snoop Dogg being this weed smoking gangster rapper, me being next to him, you're not gonna think about me going to prison anymore. Even though we're gonna play that we both, like, one of us has been to prison and one of us has not, because Snoop Dogg has not been to prison. But Martha, so we're playing on the thing that one of these you would think went to prison. The gangster rapper. Do you see what I'm saying? It forces you to see her as the white woman that she's always been. I used to go to the modeling school on San Felipe. So there is some kind of racist, and I want y'all to pay attention to it because that happens subtly a lot. When we think about this little white girl, is her name Bobby? Um, I don't know what her name is, but she's falling off now. But she was like a little white girl that was she was having all the rappers on her little podcast, on her show. She was like getting popular because she was putting herself, her little regular white self, next to like rappers and or black internet personalities. And it's hard to explain, but it's like a really subtle use of racism and racist thought. Is that Millie Bobby Brown? No. This is a little young white girl. She recently did a video with Kiki Palmer, and Kiki Palmer said, I think you're an industry plant. Like she was like Bobby Al Throff. Is that her name? I don't know her. I don't follow her, but I know her. I think her name was Bobby. Yes, that's her. Bobby Althroff. Yes, that's her. Not Bad Barbie. No, D. Whitman had it. Bobby Althroff. That's her. This one. Yes. She sounds like Vlad TV. Yes, but it's Vlad was smart. Vlad didn't put his face on the camera. Vlad just interviewed black people because he knew that we fuck with our people. She basically stole Funny Marco's gig. She actually used Funny Marco to get popular. Not just him, but it wasn't just him. It's her being kind of this deadpan, white, corny, bland girl, but her next to these vibrant, funny black people, it looks funny. And there's an underlying like racist trope that has to work in order for what worked with her to work. Like it is. I'm standing next to this, and I don't want to. I'm standing next to these jigaboos, and I'm this unassuming, plain Jane white girl. What? I don't understand the jokes that you're making. Oh my God. Oh. You get what I'm saying? She plays this kind of deadpan girl in comparison to them. And there is an undercurrent racist trope that has to be that has to be present for it to work. And people fall for it. Bill Shapiro. Who is Bill Shapiro? She used to be in the bed with them when she first started. Yes. I had the black folks that participated in that. Her and Vlad. I feel like her channel is for whites and blacks that pedalize whites. Right. She's seen as the innocent college white girl that's ditzy and unaware of the black culture. Yes. I'm next to this big scary black guy, this gangster rapper, and it works for her on so many levels. Yes, y'all get it. That's why I love my audience. Y'all get it. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. Did you see the video with her in the strip club with Sukiyana trying to twerk? Yes. That is a perfect example as well. With the big black cocks, yes. He might R word me. I remember working with a young white girl who told this story about a big black man following her, but she was just trying to tell her to turn her headlights on, and she did not get why I didn't like that. Mm. A story that's how normalized that thought is. Yes, common. So Martha Stewart, in the end of the documentary, she is older now, and people were talking about how, her Instagram posts now, she gags people because she'll be being sexy, even though she's in her 80s. And honey, I'm giving you sex appeal, bitch, because I'm that girl, honey. I'm never gonna not be a pretty white woman, honey. I got the money to be. I got the money for all the Botox, all the lifts, and I eat well. I do things. I have a stress-free life. I'm gonna always be a pretty white woman, pretty rich white woman, regardless. Peak white femininity. It is going to work for me. And people, it is aspirational, not edgy. Right. I'm regular degler in the sense of this is what I do. This is what my brand is. My brand is aspirational. Being an aspirational white woman is my brand. And so the old 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old women that see my 80-year-old self in the hot tub with some lipstick on and my bob looking gorgeous and I'm feeling sexy. I'm sitting in the bathtub with bubbles, being intentionally being sexy. That is aspirational. Regardless if you don't like me or not, you want to be this. What did Miranda Priestley say? They all want to be us, darling. They all want this. And regardless, that is gonna always be brandable. It's gonna always be sellable. It's gonna that's if your brand is selling aspiration, you're gonna always be you're gonna always be successful because people are gonna always aspire to what you got going on. If you tap into that, always. All the great great grandpas, right? White women always be thinking they doing something monumental, child. Now, I don't want to say all of them, but Martha was doing something monumental that had not been done yet. In regards to her business and branding herself and it coming, she survived a prison stint and now and just redirected her branding. Martha was one that did something that was monumental, though. Now, some of these other chicks, but Martha was one. Have y'all had these? These are real keto. Protein chips, wild protein chips. They're like made of chicken and egg whites. They like a regular chip, but they're like bone broth, egg whites, and chicken without any like antibiotics. And they're like keto, but they like if you like see, I like salty snacks, but if you want something that feels like a chip, tastes like a chip, but it's not made of potatoes, which is just carbs and very little um nutritional value, this is a perfect substitute because it's just like a chip, but it's protein. So if you're looking for an alternative, yeah, they just taste like chips. It's like a, it's like a, this flavor is like buffalo, so it tastes like a buffalo flavored chip. Now, when you first put it in your mouth, it's like a regular chip, but when it gets to the mushy that you done chewed it down, then you can feel the chicken, like the meat, like you're eating meat. As opposed to when you're eating a potato chip, it's like, oh, it's like a mashed potato. But when you first put it in your mouth, it's like a chip that turns into meat. if that like you're chewing it, so it's like, oh, now I get the meat part. But as far as flavor, it's delicious. This is the only flavor that I tried. I don't know what other flavors I got, but this flavor is good as fuck. So I bought like 3 bags. So I can, I'm trying to find alternatives to what I normally eat that are just don't have no nutrition value. So like chips and shit. Because after surgery, one of the things that they tell you is slider foods are but you got to be careful with slider foods. They call them slider foods. So there's going to be like crackers. They're ones that dissolve really easily and they're just going to be carby. Like so potato chips, crackers, shit that are just easily slide and dissolve and be in your stomach. If you're on a weight loss journey, you can kind of mess up your weight loss because you're thinking I'm eating these slider foods because they're easy to digest and they're easy to eat because my little sleeve stomach. Um, but it can ruin. You can go back to being big because you're eating these fucking slider foods. So what I had to do was find alternatives that felt the same, that felt like, oh, I'm eating a chip, but I'm getting the nutritional value of something that's a more healthy. And these, because they're keto, they're meat. It's literally meat and protein. It's just a protein. They give me the feeling of a chip, but you know, protein. And high protein diets is what's gonna make you lose weight, child. You eat some carbs, but honey, protein is what's gonna keep you losing weight, child. But yes, I recommend the Martha Stewart documentary. I think it was dope. So good, so informative, and so aspirational and inspirational. I think it's dope. Anybody who is a businesswoman who is, you can't be exactly like Martha because she's a white woman that has a little privilege, a lot of privilege. But you can pull some things to bring into your own business. I think her focus was on her trying new things because she went from catering to having a book to having TV show. You know, she definitely was an inspiration to me. I love it. The documentary is on HBO Max. It just came out. All right. So what y'all want to talk about now? Make sure y'all thumbs up. What's going on in y'all world? That can spark some convo. Oh, I just got some new pictures. I love them. So remember I told y'all I went to Arizona, and while we were in Arizona, this photographer took some pictures of me and in the Arizona desert, baby. And I just posted them on my Instagram, and they're so pretty. I got so much more, but I didn't want to bombard y'all on my timeline so many pictures. But I'm gonna hire her. I'm gonna have to find her and bring her somewhere else because she has just a perfect eye. And so one of my recent posts is where I'm standing in the sun. It is so sickening. I love those pictures. She killed it. Love it, love it, love it. The trade calling the police on you. The trade calling the police on you. Calling the police on who? Diamond, I want to low key know what's the lowest age you would date or talk to. So I separate who I would fuck and who I would be with, like in a relationship. So who I would mess with, you have to be legal age. Um, you have to look like a man. So I rarely am going to be attracted to somebody who is fucking 18, 19. Yeah, they're legal age, but they be looking like high schoolers. That's not sexy. I like a man. When you look like a little boy, you look like a fucking You look like your dick ain't done growing. I'm a size queen, so I want your dick to be good and strong and ready and fully grown and yes. So I can deal with somebody that's like in their early 20s, college level, just to have sex with. I would never be with somebody that young because I'm in my early 40s. We 20 years difference. So only thing I can enjoy you with is fucking us fucking. So if you're if and also I don't approach people. So I'm not the woman that's gonna come to a 20 a 22, 23-year old and be like, you're so hot. No. I'm a very in the way of dating and getting on to people. You have to approach me. I don't approach men. That is not what I do. You have to slide in my DMs. You have to hit me up. You got to take me out a date and wine and dine me. And so, yeah, so I'm never gonna nobody could ever accuse me of being a groomer. I don't go after men. They have to come after me. So if you got the confidence and the swag to come to me and be like, damn, what's up? Da, 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 and you're 23, 24, that dick looking right, da da da. I'll fuck you, but I'm never gonna be with you. My range of being with is 10 and up and 10 and down. So I'm 43. So if you're 33 and up to 43, I'll fuck with you. If you're 53 and down, I'll fuck with you. Anything older than that is going to be too old for me. I need you to be in a 10-year span of me because I feel like anything outside of a 10-year span, we can't culturally relate to me. There's going to be references that I'm going to make that you're not going to get if you're fucking 20 years younger than me. That's weird. There's going to be context in my conversation that you're not going to get. That's fucking weird. So anything that 10 years up, 10 years down, I can deal with because I can deal with a 33-year-old. I can deal with a 53-year-old. So yes, so anything, so that's my age range. When I'm talking about relationship. Now I can fuck a 60-year-old if he's fine, a gray-haired civil daddy that's fine. I can fuck a 20-something if he's fine. You know, if he come at me the right way and he like, hey, what's up, auntie? And he looking good, and I like tall men, so they got to be bigger than me. They gotta be not too like the lowest. I also don't date anybody that's under 5'8". It triggers my dysphoria. If you're under 5'8", I'm 5'11". You gotta be, you gotta be right there. You can't be. Yeah, I need you to be taller than me or that. But I prefer older men. I prefer men that are in their 50s. Yeah, early 50s. I'll do late 50s, but usually you're gonna be a client. if you older, you got to bring some coins to the table, baby. I am somebody who I come from women who are very traditional, so I have very traditional ideas of men that I talk my feminist shit, and I am a feminist, but there are certain things that I expect of a man that is real traditional. I am never, ever, ever, ever going to pay for a date. Ever. Sorry. Does that mean I'm not gonna take my man out on his birthday, or or if I have a friend that I'm cool with? Oh, come on, baby, let's go out to eat. I'm broke. I didn't ask you all that. Come on, let's go out. Do I do that sometimes? Sure. But when we're talking about you courting me, oh, I'm never gonna pay for no date. And you gotta come pick me up and take me out, all that kind of stuff. Like you can't coming over my house and just chilling. You ain't doing that. I don't do that. I don't even do that barely with my friends. Okay, Diamond. Let's see what you say. Getting to the point. It got to be 21, 22, and up. I'm a size queen too. I can't do childish 18, 19. Yeah, I rarely am attracted to 21, 22. Usually it's around like 25. Usually like 25, 26. It's like they're done with college. When they in college, they be wanting to fall in love too. When they're in that like 23, 21, 22, 23, honey, you put them some good sex on him. They be wanting to. I'm like, baby, you was too young. I don't want to look like no creep either. Um, I've grown up. I'm 5'11". He got to be at least my height. I recently tried to date a guy that was 5'8", and it would trigger my dysphoria. Yeah, my boo was 5'8", and I was okay because he had a big old dick, and he didn't make me feel like I didn't feel any kind of dysphoria with him. And he'd be wearing Tim's and shit. So Tim's add some height, so it didn't feel too much off. There's some things that I'm very 1950 about the situation. Amen. Okay, I'm gonna need a strong, tall, masculine, big dick, seasoned grown man with a coin. Take care of the household. Yes. You gotta bring some. You ain't gotta be rich. That's because, bitch, you 5'3", 5'2", 5'3", bitch. Of course you like a short man, child. Who is? How many niggas is taller? Is shorter than you? Everybody taller than you. Yeah, you gotta. I gotta be. You gotta bring something to the table, cause I'm definitely not taking care of no nigga. You don't gotta make more than me. You gotta make equal to me or more. Equal to me or more. I don't care what you do, because it's not necessarily that you have to take care of me. Hey, money. It's not necessarily that you gotta take care of me. It's just that I want to do certain things. There's a certain lifestyle that I am accustomed to living. There's a custom lifestyle that I'm not talking about high end, classy, fancy. I'm talking about I'm stable. So I need you to be stable too. And I don't need you to take from me. And I don't want to take from you. But I also want to do stuff. So if I say I want to fly to Paris, I need you to say, I ain't got the money right now. I want you to have the money, but I ain't got the money right now. But if you give me a couple of months, I'll be able to go with you. That's the type of man I want. Because I'm not always in a position where I can fly to Paris. But you give me a couple of months. If you tell me you want to go to Paris in June, oh, I can go in June. Because I can save up and prepare and go in June. So I need you to be that type of man. If I say, oh, I want to go out to eat today, I need you to say, yeah, let's go. I don't want you to say, oh, I'm broke. I can't afford it. What? You can't afford to eat? Because a bitch like me can always afford to eat. A bitch like me can always afford to eat. Like I can't always afford to go on trips. I can't always afford to go buy me a luxury bag. I can't always afford that stuff. I might have to save up a couple of months to do that. But I can always afford to go to dinner. You call me and say, hey, bitch, I'm in town. Let's go to Papa Do's. I can go to Papa Do's. I can go to Eddie V's. I can go to high end. I can always afford to go to high end restaurants. Or, not I don't, it doesn't have to be high end, but that's what I mean is There is nothing, no place that as far as food, that I can never afford to go. So that's where I have built my lifestyle to where I can always afford to eat wherever I want to eat. And so I need you to be like that. I need you to match that energy. I need you to match my energy. I always out earn the men who are interested in me, and it creates an issue. Oh, let's talk about it, Brianna, because you are a perfect example. So, Diamond, what's your thoughts on the dating scene right now for women, trans and non-trans? I be seeing posts about sassy men. I think people who talk about sassy men are homophobic. But I do want to talk about the dating scene. Me and Money talked about this yesterday when me and her was on the phone. We kind of touched on it a little bit. I think that was Money. I think so, because Brianna is a perfect example. So Brianna is the extraordinary civil rights attorney, law degree, law career, doing her thing, 6 figures, making her money, doing her thing. Okay. And you tell me if this is true, Brianna. At this age, at our age, because Brianna is in her 30s, I'm in my 40s. This is when men who we normally date are trying to come up in status. When they're younger, they're trying to come up in career. So y'all kind of on the same level, and they're not invested in status yet. They're invested, well, it's invested in status. They're in building their status. And usually it comes with career at first. So they go to college or they go get a trade, and then their goal is to make enough money to be able to now get a family, because as I talked about earlier in this video about Martha Stewart and talking about her husband, for men who are older, they're building status. So it comes with having a wife and having a marriage. That comes, I told y'all, the president we ain't never had no president that was not married. Marriage is a status symbol for multiple people, especially men. Ain't nobody trusting you to be a CEO if you can't even take care of a home with wife and kids and da 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 da. That's the subtext. You need to have who's your wife? Where your home at? How are you building and handling your finances at home? What status do you look like? Single bachelors is for 20-year-olds in early 30s. By the time you 40, you need to have a wife and kids and house and da 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 da. So what that looks like in the dating scene for single women of this age, especially trans women, us being trans actually harms his status. We gonna keep it real. I ain't never met a single CEO. You ain't never gonna meet one. Unless they done got divorced recently and then they get married real quick soon. So, 2 things. Men don't look at us as upgrading their status. Even your homely, unattractive woman, cis woman, can still build his status just from the fact that he's married her and has somebody taking care of him at home. Thumbs up. But as a trans woman, we don't bring their status up. We actually take their status down. And it's sad to say, but that's the truth of the matter. Maybe not tangible, like for real, like, yo, I might be making more money than you. But when it comes to how the public sees them, and we cannot ignore that we care about how the public sees them. We care maybe at different levels, but how the public sees you is important to your success. It's just what it is. It's just the truth. Okay? So it's difficult to date men over 35 and they see you as an asset, as a trans woman. Because if they have a career, they have making money, they're like 35, 40, and they like, ooh, let me look and see what woman, because I told y'all earlier that even their circle of friends is saying it's time for you to settle down and get married. What woman is going to make me, what woman is going to be the Ferrari? Just like cars are symbols of status, women are too. What woman is going to make me look like the Ferrari? Do she have the skills to take care of my home and my family? Now, this is all traditional, problematic, traditional, blah, 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 but the reality of the world. And so as a but most men are invested in patriarchy because it benefits them. So let's not act like that's not the truth. So now some of them are less invested than others, but you're fighting that element. You're fighting that element, regardless of how far he's invested in it. You're fighting that element. And so that's a strike against us. That's number one. No matter how pretty you are, just the fact that you are trans takes a strike down. But when we were younger, if you're a pretty girl, because we know desirability and I hate when people I don't know is texting me and I don't know the number, and I hate to open up a conversation. I don't know who you are. Eek. When you are younger and you have the spoils of being a traditional beauty or some type of desirability, that some perks of being pretty. A broke dude will look at you as a trans woman and say, oh, especially if he's below average, he will say, oh, I'll never have access to this type of girl ever. Especially if you're the type of trans girl that invest in your look, invest in being hyper feminine, getting the implants that look right, getting the body that look right, and not necessarily extreme. Like I'm not talking about over exaggerated, but you invest in being femme in the same way cisgender women do, invest in having the long hair, invest in having whatever it is, however you adhere to the beauty standards of a femme. If you are at a certain level of high femme that is respected by the public, a broke nigga will look at you as a trans woman and say, oh, I won't, because especially a below average one, looks wise, he will look at you and say, I won't even have access to this level of woman. I won't even have access of a cis woman. I won't even have access to her. So because you are trans, you actually are, when we both are broke, you actually are a perk because I can walk around with you, especially if you're the type of trans woman that don't like to spill your tea and you passable and you can walk around. Oh, yes, I'll have you on my arm because, yo, I won't even have access to you. You like say a trans woman that look like a Lotto or look like a like a Jodie Turner or just a bad bitch, like a bad bitch. He would deal with her because we both broken. We can walk around and I can look like I'm that nigga. Cause you got the image that you're supposed to have. And if you were a cis woman, I wouldn't even be able to get close to you. So when you're young, it's easy to get one of them dudes. Because you make them look good because you a bad bitch that they don't have access to. I know that's my experience. And this is coming from their own mouth. Not just me saying it. Like my ex literally said this. Like I would, even to this day, he don't got no chick that look like me. His baby mama is hit, child. Both of them. But he was hit. All them below averages. But me being young and wanting to be in love, I made compromises. I looked past looks and just how he and went into how he treated me. And so, it didn't turn out great, but but it was love in the 3 years that it was, until it was not. And so what I see also, so there's a different, but when that was when we were young. When men get older, they're looking for status, especially if they have the qualities that you want in men, like a good career, uh, um, making money, da 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 da. They're looking. The next step is status, and as a trans woman, you don't give them status unless you're some rich bitch or something. Yeah, that comes with that. So also, unlike cisgender people, my friends cannot introduce me to amazing men. Most people who find their partner, they find their partner through friends or work. They're either in the circle with them at work, or they meet them through their friends. Like, oh, I have this girl who is single, and let me invite her over to my dinner party. And then I have this guy who is my friend too, who is single, and I think that they would be great together. So let me introduce them. And boom, there's some magic that happens. Or your mama introduced you to somebody to go to somebody's son to go to a church. You cisgender people have the privilege of being able to be introduced freely to amazing people that are single. You got a network of people who know single people. Oh, I know she's single. Let me hook her up with him. Or I know he's single. Let me hook up with him. And they can date and figure it out. You can't do that with a trans person, because first of all, you can't tell a cisgender person that has a cisgender friend, you can't they can't be like, oh, will you date a trans woman? Because more than likely the nigga's gonna lie. Now, some of them might tell the truth. That's rare. But if a dude dates trans women, he's probably gonna lie. He ain't gonna tell some cisgender woman or his homeboy that he dates trans women, or he's open to it. First of all, we're talking about the ones that are actually open to dating. We got tons of them that'll fuck us. Tons. There's tons. It's more that will fuck us than will be with us in a relationship. There's so many straight men that will beat me down. They won't be with me, but if they want some hair, they want to put their thing in my butt, they will do it. But they're not gonna be in a relationship with me. So if we're talking about the men who will be in a relationship, okay, they can't be honest about it. They can, but the men who has, it's very rare for a man to have that kind of steadfast, strong personality to where I like what I like. That's actually very rare because of the saddest thing that I was talking about too. And so, because of homophobia, because of transphobia, da 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 da. So, but they can't. So if some single guy has friends that are friends with me, they can't introduce me to them, because then it's like, oh, am I do I tell you T? Do I You get what I'm saying? It's awkward. They cannot introduce your trans friend to your cisgender friend, because you don't know where they stand with dating trans people. And then you gotta expose this person T. Then it's so much layers that stops us from having that kind of network of people that we could even potentially date. So only place that we are actually gonna be able to find people to date is if we meet them in person or we meet them online. So that really narrows the pool of who we can actually date. That is about we're on our own figuring it out if they're a good person. We're absolutely on our own. Whereas cisgender people, sometimes they can have their friends as a buffer, like oh, I've already figured out that he's a great guy. He got a good job. You get what I'm saying? They figured out that you match. Y'all like the same thing because y'all know both of us. There's this potential. Not saying that all cisgender people have great options for dating. We know that that's not true. But I'm talking about even just the pool is way narrower in potential of finding someone through your network. We don't have that luxury. So it makes us finding someone harder. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with dating, especially at this age. I'm 43. And so men who are my age or over 35, I just told you I'm not gonna go with relationships. I'm not going past 33, 10 years. So it's very rare that I fit somebody my age's dream of whatever their future is gonna be. Cause some of them want to have kids. By this age, when you're young, they're teaching you as a man, you don't need no kids right now. So dealing with a trans woman when you're young is perfect because you can't give you no kids. But every trans woman, I don't want to say every, no, everyone that I know. So I know that I don't speak in absolute. So there might be some trans women that work through this. But every trans woman that I know that had a relationship when she was younger with a man that lasted a very long time, it ended when that man became in his 30s and started wanting a family. In the beginning, he was like, "Oh, I don't want no kids anyway." Da 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 da. But it's something that happens in the midlife because of that status. Men start wanting kids, even if they didn't want them when they were younger. They start wanting kids. It's rare that a man doesn't want kids. It's kind of like women. There's some women most women want kids, but some of them don't. And it's the same thing with men. Some men don't want kids. So it's that narrows the pool down. But the norm is for them to want kids. So yeah, they were dating you in their early 20s and loving you for real and being with you. But when they get in their 30s, the pressure of wanting to have kids started to be stronger. And so they're either going to cheat on you with a cis woman and get her pregnant. That happens so many times to trans women I know. And then you got to navigate that. Do you stay with him after he done cheated on you and had a baby on you? Or they break up with you and be with a cis woman. I'm keeping it real. Do y'all agree? Do y'all not agree? Y'all getting quiet. Thumbs up. When I told the last dude I was talking to that I didn't have any professional goals, but I only had personal goals, and he was older than me, the entire energy shifted. And it's not saying that you can't find the unicorn. I don't want to be the cynic and giving you cynical ideas about love. But I just want you to be realistic about what you are up against so that you're not wasting time investing just in that. It's kind of like beauty. Beauty is important in your youth, and it's important to invest in because there is some social capital that you gain. But beauty is going to fade, baby. It is not a long-term investment. And you have to be realistic about it. No matter how, even if you have access to money, look at Madonna, Demi Moore, these women who have gotten older and have access to money, access to the best plastic surgeons. Look how foolish Madonna looks, trying to keep that mug right. Even if you have the best surgeons, baby, You just gonna look like an old woman with surgery. So no matter what, beauty is gonna fade. So it is not a great long-term investment when it comes to your happiness. Surgery is no match for aging. It is not. So you need um Demi Moore does look good now, but she had some bad surgery um a couple of years ago that she had to get fixed. She had a great surgeon that makes her look good. It's not saying that you're not gonna look good, but bitch, you're gonna look old good. You're gonna look good old. Regardless of what you do, you're gonna look good old. Look at Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett looked good as fuck. She looked good as fuck, but she looked like a, and that's another thing. Angela Bassett doesn't look 20. She looks good for her age. She looks amazing. But she doesn't look 20. She looked like your auntie. She looked like a fine ass auntie. There's a difference between looking young. I've seen some women who look like, oh my God, you look 20 and you're 45. You look 20, but there's a difference between I look good for my age. Like I look good. I look like a fine ass 40 something year old. Does that make sense? It's a difference between looking. I'm trying to think of look at Regina Hall. Is that her name? Regina Hall, the kind of comedic actress that's going into drama now. Regina Hall, she's over 50. She looks amazing. Regina Hall looks fucking amazing. Let me see if I find a picture of Regina. There's a picture that I love of Regina that I recently saved. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, where is it? She was at some kind of award show and she was sitting down and somebody took her picture. Oh, I can't find it. I don't know where it's at. And I saved it because it's just a gorgeous picture. Uh, I don't know. I can't find it. Uh, no, I can't find it. Um, she plays in scary movies, but yes, that's her. I knew y'all knew who I was talking about, but she doesn't look 20 years old, but she doesn't look 50. Do you see what I'm saying? She looks like a beautiful woman of her age, just looking that take care of herself of her age. I don't understand what you're saying. Everyone ages. Yes. I'm not saying that everyone doesn't age. I may not be explaining what I'm saying right. Um yes, that's literally what I'm saying. Everyone ages and you're not going to it's a bad investment to invest in beauty. That's my overall point. But even if you look good for your age, you just look like it's you just look good for your age. You don't look like you're 18, 19, 20 anymore. You're never going to look like that no more. That look at picture of celebrities. Even if they look good for their age, they don't look like their selves when they was 20. They look older and good for their age. Yes, like let's take Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett young. So yes, this is Angela Bassett young. Beautiful. But Angela Bassett doesn't look like that right now. Even though she may not look 60, she doesn't look like this. Angela Bassett, young. Another picture of her young. Beautiful, but she doesn't look like that anymore. She look even this is a little bit older. This is a little bit older, but let's go to a recent picture. She looks gorgeous. She looks great, but that is a great looking older woman. We wipe it off so y'all can see it clear. She looks great, but that is a great looking older woman. She looks great, but that is a great looking older woman. You get what I'm saying? So it's not about you still look your age. You still look your age. You look great for your age. It's I don't know how to explain it more than that. My motto is an old broom still sweeps. Yes, but it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like the broom when you bought it from the store. There's some fraying. It may still sweep, it may still be good, but it doesn't look like the broom when you first take it out of the wrapper. It's a different broom. It done swept. It done some sweeping, and it still look good. It still works. Still do what it need to do, but it done did some sweeping. So it looks like a used broom. Still good. But it still looks like a used broom. You ain't got to go buy you a new one. Yes, this looks like this is a beautiful woman. Beautiful. Just as beautiful as she was when she was younger, but that looks like a black auntie. Beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. So, why did I bring that up? Because just as far as the investment, like no matter if you got the even access to money and wealth, the best surgeon, you still gonna look like an old bitch with some surgeries. And so it's not trying to outdo that. Yes, you should eat healthy, do all the things you need to do to preserve your body and your health. When you do that, to is the consequences are going to be, less aging. But there's a level of environment and a level of genetics. Sometimes the genes is just going to gene, and you're not going to age as well, and you're going to get older, and it's just going to happen. Usher is still fine, but he don't look like 8, 7. Exactly. Exactly. I guess that's my point. But yes, we all do age. Um, but I was talking about Demi Moore. That's why I wanted to look her up. Yeah, this one. This is when they had messed up her face. So when she was modeling for that, I can't remember what line it was, but she was modeling for it, and I guess her fillers kind of wore whatever the fillers that she had. It wore her out. But then she got it fixed and now she's giving this. Still looks good, but it's not botched like it was. But she also don't look like Demi Moore of in her heyday. She looks gorgeous. She just looks like a gorgeous, beautiful older white woman. This is Demi Moore in her youth when she first started acting. That's a, that's a you can see that's a young woman. Even when she got a little bit older. It's just a different, yeah, you're not gonna look like you were when you was a kid, when you was a 20 something. For men, I feel like it's different. As long as they stay in shape, people will always go up for them, especially if their piece work. It is a difference in men, but not too much. Because when we think about the surgeries that first of all, women are judged differently than men when it comes to surgeries. When it comes to beauty in general and youthfulness, there is a difference. But they're up against the same ageism that we are. So Brad Pitt getting older, he may not be thrown away in the same way a woman actress would, but he is going to be getting surgeries and Botox and all the stuff to make him look young too. They just can't get old freely, not as free as us. Because he's getting surgery. Brad Pitt is getting surgeries to make his like fillers in his jawline to make his jaw a little stronger. And they're getting surgeries too to stay looking youthful. They just got a little bit longer. And being an older man, because of status and because of you know, we ain't looking at him. There's still sex appeal in older men because they're aspirational, even as young women like, ooh, I can have him because he's rich. Whereas an older woman, that's not necessarily a good look for a man. Yes, temporarily, I'll be with your old ass to get a heads up, to get some money, but once I get to the level where I need to have my own status, I'm leaving your old ass and being with somebody young. But a girl can, a woman, girl, whoever, a woman can stay with an older man as long as he got money and status, and she be cool, and nobody looking at her bad. Mm, 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 mm. But yeah, I am not looking. Dating is interesting. It's always interesting. You have to have hard conversation with cis folks when you date them because the urge for them to want kids and want social status is strong as hell. It is. Not saying that we are hormone therapy, aka gender affirming procedures, but they won't say that part. Any surgery that makes you feel more feminine or masculine is gender affirming surgery, whether you're trans or cisgender. That's true. And that's not to say that trans people are not affected or pressured by social status and maybe not kids so much. But shit, nowadays with the science how it is, I see trans people running and having kids too. I even see trans people dating other trans people just to have some babies. So they are. So it's not saying that we're not pressured to want social status because we are. Mm. But I haven't had but yeah, but just to round out the conversation with the dating, I just have had much better return of investment with my friends. So I'm open to relationships. I keep my door open. I keep my door open, but the screen door is up. I'm home. I'm chilling. So people can come in and I date people potentially. But what you have to bring to the table is a certain level of care, a certain level of stability, a certain level of alignment with my politics. You don't need to be perfect, but you have to see people's humanity. I don't want to have to explain racism. I don't want to have to explain misogyny. I don't want to have to explain that those things exist. You don't have to be fully on board in regards to everything you do is aligned with being a feminist or being a black feminist, being anti-racist. But I cannot battle you on those things existing. You have to invest it on. You have to know that they exist and be invested in dismantling them. You don't have to be perfect in your strategy, but you need to know that these systems need to be dismantled, and you have to be actively trying to dismantle it. Now, how our strategies go, we can that's where I can compromise, but where I can't is if you think that they don't exist and you don't, or you want to be complacent in dismantling them. If you're very, I don't know what I can do, then no. You have to have by the time because we're in the same age bracket, by the time we're here, you should have thought about this stuff. So how are you dismantling homophobia? How are you dismantling racism? How are you dismantling sexism? I need you to have been to believe those things exist and believe that you have the power to dismantle them in your circles and want to dismantle them in your circles. And finding a man that has thought about that stuff thoughtfully, maybe not to perfection, but thoughtfully, and incorporated some things in their life, that is very hard to find to me. Mm, 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 mm. But yes, make sure y'all thumbs up. Um, I will be. Let me see what I have coming recently. So let me see. Show notes. All right, so I have my Latinx homegirl coming to the show. Stacey Monroe. She out of Dallas. She's cool as hell. I can't wait to let y'all meet her. I got AJ. AJ been on the show before, but I wanted we have a new video with him. Um, Colette. Colette is a trans woman out of Finland. Dope. She got a documentary about her life that came out last year, and we recorded in January. I just haven't edited it. Um, but those are the three people that I got coming up. Um, I got Trace Lissette coming up, actress, ballroom icon, legend. Um, I have who else? That's who I have in the bag. There's other people that I'm working on. I haven't watched Origins by Ava DuVernay. Um, Ava, mm, I haven't. There's something weird that I haven't tried to articulate, but there's something weird that I feel, and I haven't thought about it enough to articulate it. So I'm not going to articulate it now. But there's something weird that I can't put my finger on yet, but I will eventually. I still would like to hear Miss Mary on Marsha's plate. T.S. Madison's mother. Um, hmm. Interesting idea. I'm not against it. But do you think Miss Mary can hold a hour, unedited hour? Well, it's gonna be edited, but an hour and a half conversation? Because usually my shows are like hour and a half. You think she could handle that? And it not be strenuous for me to get the conversation out of her? It has to be some kind of based on what you know about Miss Mary. You think that would be maybe her with Madison? Yes, I think that would be dope. But I think me and her by ourselves, that would be a lot of work for me to kind of navigate her personality or lack thereof. Cause she do seem like a kind of low key mama. Like it's hard to explain. I think I know what I'm talking about though. She's kind of like I don't know. It's hard to explain that respectfully. I think it's a good idea, but I would if I was to do something with mamas, it would have to be multiple mamas, and she be a small interview in a collection of multiple ones. That's how I would make that work. Because I feel like I don't think she would be able to handle a long conversation based on what I hear from her. Um, but I do think that she could be a short one. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I do have there's a couple of things. I want to do a six-part series. Not I want to do, I'm doing. The process is just in its early stages. I want to do a 6-part series. I came up on some coins that I want to produce a 6-part series about survivor children and the survivors of the crack epidemic, like Black mothers. The theme is like Black mothers and surviving the war on drugs and how it affected the lives of the children of the crack epidemic. And I want it to be a project that me and my brother do together because we lost our mother to fentanyl, a fentanyl overdose, and because of her 30-year addiction. Um, I think that that it would be a good series, a 6-part series, and we're doing it, but it's in its early stages. So that's what we're working on now. Um, Also another project that is coming up for me. So y'all saw me do the videos, Sisterhood as a Pathway to Liberation, the Empower Her retreat that I did. I actually want to take that to the next level, and really focus in on the coalition between the historical and current coalition between cis and trans Black women in the history and in current status, and do like a documentary style deep dive into the collaboration between Black cis women and Black trans women, and the impact on culture of that collaboration. So that's coming up. What else do I want to do? Yes. And then flip it once I finish that, I want to do the same thing with the coalition between gay men and trans women. Positive collaboration, positive coalition, because I think it's easy for viral moments to happen to where when we're clashing, when we're against each other, as opposed to sharing where we have aligned. Every time some trans shit go viral, it's a Just Hilarious or a Macy Gray or some shit, some transphobic motherfuckers. I see the same old people sharing positive cis women who are affirming. I see them shared, but I'm talking about a viral moment of those women. I haven't seen that. That's not shared in the same way. It's shared to the choir, but the viral moments are always the negative ones. And so I want to be able to contribute to, the counter narrative, the antithesis of the transphobia. Because in my life, I have amazing trans women who are my sisters. Those are my closest friends. But in the past 5 years, I have grown very, very close to cis women who affirm me, who, from lesbians to straight cis women, from other social justice cis women to regular, women that I have just befriended. And so it has totally shifted to a very close, positive relationship with these women, as opposed to back in my younger years, I did not have close cis women friends at all. It was really shady. So building those relationships and seeing how they have stepped up and supported me and been in my corner, I much rather focus on that than focus on our differences, because I think our similarities is where we find coalition. It is where we find solutions. It is where we find solutions that help us all instead of just helping some of us. And so that's my direction of my content, um, my professional career. That's where I'm going. But all right, y'all, it's been 3 hours. Make sure y'all thumbs up if y'all listening later. I appreciate y'all, and we will be back next week with more of Marsha's Plate, and we will be back. I don't know what's gonna be the next episode. I think it's gonna be Colette, but I don't know. I'm not for sure. Maybe Stacey. I don't know. But I will see y'all, and yeah, bye.